Hello everybody and welcome back to another My Porch Prints tutorials. Today we are going to be making a pop-up page using our Christmas fussy cuts. So if you've seen our other pop-up video, this is going to be very similar, but if you are new here, I'm going to go ahead and take everything step by step. So for this you are going to need the Christmas fussy cuts and a pop-up template, which we have in our Etsy shop, and I will have links to everything you see down below, so make sure that you go ahead and check those out. And I went ahead and printed those templates out on plain white cardstock and then ran them through the printer again front and back with these vintage Christmas music papers from our vintage Christmas music paper pack. So I'm going to go ahead and start by taking an X-Acto knife and just cutting these little slits out. And then I'm also going to be taking the template stands and just following the outline that you see printed here and just cut that out as well. So when making the slits, I made sure to put a little piece of cardboard behind so I didn't accidentally cut the table. And we're not cutting anything out, we're just sort of following along the line here and making 4 little slits. And these are going to be what holds our pop-up stands up. And I went ahead and cut the stands out, and one of them is a little bit smaller, and that one is going in front, and this will kind of help with that layered effect that we're going to be going for here. So making sure that the smaller one is in front and the taller one is in back. And for the basic assembly, we are just going to be taking those stands and folding them in half like so. It doesn't have to be perfect, but try to get it as close as you can to folding right in the center. And I like to fold mine front and back just a little bit to give them some bend. And we'll be doing it with both of the stands like this. And then we are also going to be folding the base, so just go ahead and grab the entire page and fold that in half as well. The slits will go at the bottom of the page. This will keep them from popping out of the top and making sure that everything functions properly. So just remember that the slits go at the bottom half of the page and the blank part is at the top. And then for the final part of the assembly, you're going to fold these little tabs backwards here, just creasing them like so. And you're going to be doing that to both of these stands. And how these will work is the little tabs will slide into the slits we made, just like this, creating sort of a slight bend here. And that tension is going to allow the pop-up to function when we open and close the page. And these little tabs are going to help hold it in. Do not glue these tabs down yet though. I'll explain a little bit more about that at the end, but all you need to know is this is sort of just a demonstration of how the pop-up functions. Just like that. And I'll just go ahead and add the other one just to sort of show you what it will look like. Just like this. And again, with these tabs, we will be gluing these down at the very end, but don't do that yet. For now, you're going to want to just remove the stands and set the page aside. And grabbing our fussy cuts here, we are going to be laying everything out. So just a couple of tips. You can do whatever you want, but I find that it helps to use the taller fussy cuts in the back and shorter ones in the front. Otherwise, the front ones might cover the back ones, and that kind of ruins the layered effect. And then I also like to add items on the end that are somewhat symmetrical, like these little branches here. You can have them sort of be asymmetrical, but the shape and flow of them should be sort of similar, and it helps kind of just frame the fussy cuts. Like this one I went ahead and cut in half to make it exactly symmetrical. And those will be going on the very ends here. Just remember not to have them too low, like they will need to be high enough that they don't get smushed when you fold the tabs in. And they also need to not be too close to the edge. I sort of did that my first time around, and they will kind of stick out of the page if they're too far to the edge of your stand. So if you don't mind it looking like that, you can do whatever you want, but if you want them to have sort of like symmetrical page edges, just remember to move those in a little bit from the edges of the stand. And then the rest of it is just sort of layering things as you go, however you like. Again, tallest in front, shorter in back, tallest in back, shorter in front, that's what I mean. And yeah, just kind of keeping like items together. Like I used all the trees in the back and then just some shorter cute Christmas items in the front here. And I ended up switching things out and moving things around a lot, and the final product sort of looks different than what I started out with, but that's just kind of part of the process. Don't overthink it too much. And something else you can do if you want is to add items, not to the stand itself, but like to the items in front. Like this snowflake here, I'm going to just glue that to the letter instead of the actual stand. It's just something you can do if you want. And then using FABRI-TAC, I'm going to go ahead and glue everything down, starting from the left and moving towards the right, and starting in the back and moving towards the front layers, just like so. And if you wanted to, you could have used some distress ink around all of these pieces to make them look a little more vintage. I didn't do that just to save time, but if you want to, you surely could. Just carrying on, sort of filling in spaces as I go. I found that like things tend to move around a little bit, so again, don't worry too much, just kind of add and take away whatever you need to do. Just have fun with it. Alright, and this is what the front stand looks like when it's done, and then this is what the taller stand in the back looks like when it's done. So you can see I sort of move the foxes around and things just to kind of make it work out. Alright, now that I'm happy with it, I'm going to grab some distress ink in the color Vintage Photo and just real fast go around the edges of the base just to give it a slightly darker border. And then using our stands, we are going to fold them in half again because the fussy cuts will make them a little bit thick, so you'll need to refold here. And if you have small fussy cut pieces, you might find that parts of them will like fold awkwardly in the crease and pop up like this. And I just go ahead and use a little bit of glue to glue them back down, and that usually does the trick. And so going ahead and sliding those little tabs into the slits that we made earlier, just like so. And now you can kind of see what it looks like when it's all finished here. Sort of creasing that page again. And again, don't glue these down just yet. I'll talk about that in a second here, but just to sort of show you, this is what the pop-up effect looks like when it's all done. It's sort of nice to have those little layers. And if you want to add this to a journal, this is why we're not gluing those tabs down yet. If you want to, you will need to either sew the page in or tie it in potentially. And if you want to do that, these little tabs will kind of get in the way. So you'll want to remove the tabs, sew the page in or tie it in, and then add the pop-up pieces in and then glue down the tabs after you've already sewn it. Alright, so that is going to finish today's quick pop-up tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye!